Welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back to the podcast, my beautiful friends. Today, on our first episode on volume 2 of the podcast, we are answering the question, what is a beautiful, successful, satisfying, and fulfilling life? It's really, really important, no matter what transformation you're working on creating, that you pause to define what the transformation means to you. It's really, really important to have a definition. This is the very first step I would take with any client I'm working with. So on this podcast, as we're talking about personal development, and we're talking about creating a life we love, and we're talking about creating a life that is beautiful to us, and we're talking about creating a fulfilling and satisfying life, we are talking about what a successful life means to us. It's really, really important that we all take the time to pause and check in to answer this question. So on today's episode, I'm going to give you a 3-element framework that you can use to answer this question. Because the truth is, the reason most of us haven't paused to answer this question is that it feels overwhelming. It feels like a really big question. It feels like it'll take us so long to figure out. Well, don't worry, I've done the hard part for you and created this framework to make answering this question so much easier. Now, it's also really important to have a clear definition for what a successful life means to you, because it will make your personal development easier. Personal development requires change, growth, and transformation. All of that is hard because it's different to something you're doing right now. So you need to have clear motivation and inspiration to be willing to put in that effort that will be required to go through the transformation process. Equally, it's very important to have a clear definition so that you can make your decisions along the path to creating that successful life for you easier. If you know what you're working towards, then as you have choices to make and as you have actions to take, you'll know which choices to make and which actions to take because you know where you're going, what you're moving towards. Now, sometimes there will be parts to this answer that aren't clear yet, and that's okay. You can have as little or as much detail as you like. The important thing is to simply have an answer and to have done the self-inquiry and the self-discovery required to answer this question. Now, the reason I've chosen these terms, beautiful, fulfilling, satisfying, and successful, is because when people are generally asking, how can I improve my life? They are asking questions like, how can I create a life I love? How can I create my best life? How can I create a life that feels beautiful to me? And often the other qualities that come up are success, fulfillment, and satisfaction. The reason for this is we want to feel that we're living a successful life. We want to feel success. We want to feel that we're satisfied by our life. We want to feel that we're deeply fulfilled by our life. So I'm kind of using these 4 terms interchangeably. Just know that what we're answering here is the internal quest that all of us at some point in our life will start asking, is there more to all of this? How do I feel like I'm really living my full potential? So your framework that you're going to learn today to answer this question, to create your personal definition of what a successful, beautiful, satisfying, and fulfilling life means to you, is going to give you an answer to all of those questions. And that's a great thing. Now, it's also really important to have your own personal definition because we're all here to be individuals. We are here to express our unique selves. And in order for you to feel like you're fitting in, what happens is you start taking on other people's versions of success, of satisfaction, of fulfillment, of a life you love, enjoy, and are inspired by. That will never work because it's someone else's definition and not yours. So today we are reclaiming your ability to create a life you love, and we're reclaiming your ability to move forward and develop and improve yourself in a way that matters to you, not someone else, but to you only and to you in this moment. Please know that your definition over time will evolve. And so it's important to regularly check in with this definition and ask yourself, does this still feel aligned? Okay, without further ado, let's go into the 3 elements that are required to create a successful, beautiful, satisfying, and fulfilling life. The first element is you want to create a life that you love. Now, a life is made up of different parts. I like to categorize one's life through 7 different categories. They are as follows: your body and health, your wealth and finances, your service, contribution, and career, your hobbies, fun, and adventure, your spirituality, your home and possessions, and your relationships. So whenever I'm asking myself, what does it mean to create a life I love? I'm looking at these 7 different categories. Whenever I'm working with a client, I'm doing the same thing, where you're looking at these 7 different categories. What would it look like to feel that this particular category is a success to you? What would it look like to feel deeply satisfied in this area? What would it look like to feel fulfilled in this area? What would a beautiful health and body actually look like to you? So you want to make sure that you're looking at these 7 areas and you're asking yourself these questions. The second element to answer what a successful, beautiful, and fulfilling and satisfying life is to you is to also know that it's about designing a lifestyle that allows you to thrive. Now, this is really important to know because in the first category, as we look at generally what does creating a life look like, and we look at the 7 different categories, we might be including some long-term goals, some different milestones, short-term goals. They could be 10 years into the future. They could be a year into the future. They might be 3 months into the future. When we speak about lifestyle, which is our second element, we're looking at your days. How do you want your day to be? What do you want your lifestyle to be in order to thrive? So we're coming to a more micro focus. We're going out of the macro into the micro to have a look at your day. This becomes one of the most important categories because you can start making some instantaneous changes now. But it's really important equally to know where we're going because that allows us to understand what our lifestyle needs to look like. So it's important to have the first element answered before you move on to the second element, because what you're going to do is use that information to dial it back and come to, well, what does my lifestyle need to look like then? Now, it's also really important for you to know that your life, creating a life you love across those 7 categories, is actually made up by the actions you're taking on a day-to-day basis right now. It is made up of the habits you are in right now. And so your lifestyle is really about the actions that you take on a day-to-day basis. It's about your habits as well that you deliberately nurture. So we want to be looking at, is my lifestyle aligned with creating a life I love across those 7 categories? The way to change that is to change the lifestyle. Equally, we also need to be considering, is this lifestyle actually allowing me to thrive as a human? Because you as a human have different needs. I like to think of these needs in 6 different categories. You have financial needs, you have emotional needs, mental needs, physical needs, creative needs, and spiritual needs as well. So I also like to look at my lifestyle and ask, is this allowing me to thrive in all of these 6 areas? Do I feel like I'm financially thriving, emotionally thriving, mentally thriving, and on and on? Now, if I don't feel like I'm thriving based on my lifestyle on a day-to-day basis, I'll ask myself, well, what would it look like to thrive? And that's going to give me the information I need about where my lifestyle needs to change in order to allow me as an individual to thrive. So the first element was looking at creating a life we love from that macro perspective with the 7 different categories. The second element is designing a lifestyle that allows us to thrive. And so we look at the 6 different categories that allows you as a human to thrive, as well as, is our lifestyle aligned with those goals that we put under the first element? This will then allow you to know that, yeah, my lifestyle is aligned with the way that I want to move forward, what I'm moving towards. Now, the third element is about feeling that you are on purpose and reaching your potential. Now, as we've spoken about before on the podcast, reaching your potential is not a one and done thing. It's something that you're always growing into. It's almost like you continue just to peel back layers of yourself and reveal another understanding of yourself. You get to explore another layer of yourself. There is an innate desire within all of us to be on that path of evolving. And to me, what that means is simply discovering a new layer of ourselves. So you might notice you're curious about something. That is you discovering a new layer of yourself. You go and explore that. It's something new. It's something different. You get to learn about yourself in that process of exploring something new. This is a beautiful thing, and it's something that we all want. We are all expanding and growing. That's the nature of the earth and the universe that we live in. So when it comes to fulfilling our purpose and potential, it is about revealing another layer of ourselves, and it's also about being you. So to reveal another layer of yourself, you get to know yourself more deeply. This is the quest we're all on, and this is what we will be discovering throughout our whole life. It's not a one and done thing. So I like to simply think of purpose as being myself, and also if you want to think about purpose in terms of providing and serving and contributing to the world, you're thinking about how can I use the gifts that I was born with? How can I be myself and serve the world in that way? How can I explore my interests and serve the world in that way? We'll talk more for sure about this topic moving forward. But for now, know that that third element is about feeling that you're on purpose and also reaching your potential. So what does that mean to you today based on the information and understanding you have of yourself? Know that you don't have to commit to whatever that answer is for the rest of your life. We just want to ask what comes up for you today. Okay, so they're the three different elements to our framework for creating your own personal definition for what a beautiful, successful, satisfying, and fulfilling life means to you. Let's summarize these again. The first is we're creating a life we love. We're looking at the macro meaning of creating a life we love. We're doing this by looking at the 7 different areas of our life and asking ourselves, what would it look like to feel that this is a beautiful, successful, satisfying, and fulfilling part of our lives? Secondly, we're going down to the micro and looking at our lifestyle. Is our lifestyle aligned with moving us towards the life that we want to create? And is our lifestyle allowing us to thrive across the 6 different areas that I mentioned as a human? Thirdly, are we feeling on purpose and that we're reaching our potential based on where we are right now? We want to feel like we're fully expressed, that we're fully expanded. And when we do that, we feel fulfilled. When we don't do that, we feel unfulfilled. Not to worry, because whenever you feel unfulfilled, which you will at lots of different times throughout your life, it is just your indication that there's another layer of yourself to explore here. So based on where you are now, what does it mean to be on purpose? And what does your full potential look like based on where you are now? With your answers from all of these 3 subcategories combined, you now have a personal definition of what a successful, beautiful, satisfying, and fulfilling life means to you. I recommend that you go through these 3 different elements at least once a year so that you can get clear on where it is you want to be going as you continue to develop, improve, and move forward. This is really the purpose of your personal development and self-coaching, this definition. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, it is what will help you be motivated to do the uncomfortable work of change, transformation, and improvement. And it will also help you understand, is this decision or this action actually aligned with my personal definition of success? If it's not, then don't do it. And that goes for the same when it comes to your personal development. If you're learning about a way to improve your life, but it's not even aligned with the improvements you want to make, then disregard that. You can come back to it later when it is relevant, if it's relevant at any time in the future. So there you go, my beautiful friends. Defining for yourself what a beautiful, successful, satisfying, and fulfilling life will set you up for success along your personal development and coaching journey. Now, in our next episode, we'll be talking about how to create a successful, beautiful, satisfying, and fulfilling life. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast, your go-to resource for personal development and coaching. To deepen your learning and practice, make sure you're subscribed to receive our community newsletter. This is a weekly newsletter sent to you every Friday to support your personal development. Subscribe at leticiaringe.com/newsletter. And if you haven't yet left a 5-star review for the podcast, we ask that you please do that now so that this podcast can reach other listeners who also want to join us in creating a life that is beautiful.